Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. In this video, we are going to cover the current affairs. So now, let's start. What is the deadline for completion of insolvency resolution process as per the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code regulations? So as per the regulations of IBBI, that is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, the overall deadline for the completion of insolvency resolution process is 330 days, and recently it was in news because the chairperson of IBBI, MS Sahu, announced that due to this 21 days lockdown, IBBI has relaxed the timelines under overall 330 days deadline. That means the lockdown period will not be counted for the purpose of timelines under these regulations. Now, IBBI is constituted as per the provisions of IBC. IBC stands for Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code of India. So, IBC covers individuals, companies, and handles cases under it using tribunals, namely NCLT, that is National Company Law Tribunal, and DRT, that is Debt Recovery Tribunal. So NCLT is for companies and DRT is for individuals. Which Indian newspaper that was being published in US for 50 years has ceased its printed edition? So right answer is India Abroad. So it has stopped its printed edition due to coronavirus pandemic, and this newspaper was founded by Indian American publisher Mr. Gopal Raju, and it was founded in year 1970. Now, USA was also in news as recently UNSC, that is United Nations Security Council, unanimously approved US Taliban peace deal, and this deal was signed in Doha in Qatar. USA was also in news as it is the host of G7 summit. So this year USA is the host. Apart from that, USA was also in news because of GSP, that is Generalized System of Preference. So recently India was removed from the GSP program. That means India will no longer be a beneficiary of this Generalized System of Preferences program of USA. Which global financial institution is to invest $100 million equivalent in the fund of funds of NIIF, that is National Investment and Infrastructure Fund? So right answer is Asian Development Bank. So ADB is going to invest into NIIF. Even AIIB is the investor in this NIIF. AIIB stands for Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. It is a China-led bank. On the other hand, in case of Asian Development Bank, Japan and USA are major shareholders. The headquarters of Asian Development Bank is in Philippines. So Japan holds the largest proportion of shares in Asian Development Bank and USA holds second largest. Now, if we talk about NIIF, it is India's first sovereign wealth fund, and it was set up by the government in 2015, and it is used for infrastructure investment in commercially viable projects, both in greenfield projects, brownfield projects. In simplest terms, greenfield means absolutely new project, while brownfield means some existing project. Which space company has received the contract of NASA to ferry cargo and supplies to the NASA's proposed space station on Moon? Right answer is SpaceX. So recently, NASA has selected a new space capsule from SpaceX for its space station on Moon. SpaceX is a company owned by Mr. Elon Musk. So this lunar space station aims to build a permanent post on Moon, and for this NASA and SpaceX are going to work together. Now NASA is a space agency of USA. It is National Aeronautics and Space Administration. SpaceX was also in news as IIT Madras is going to host India's first Hyperloop pod competition, and it is going to be in July 2020. Now this competition is funded by SpaceX. Apart from that, SpaceX was also in news because of Starlink. So it is a constellation 60 satellites to provide internet services. Which Indian state celebrated its statehood day on 30th of March? Right answer is Rajasthan. The state of Rajasthan came into existence on 30th of March in 1949, and in terms of area, it is the largest state of our country. Answer in comment box which is the smallest state of India in terms of population. Now Rajasthan was also in news as recently Rajasthan Transport Department decided to observe no vehicle day on the first day of every month. Apart from that, Rajasthan was also in news because of Mukti Karwa. It is a campaign that was launched with a special focus on the social evils of forced labor, sexual abuse of children. So this campaign was launched in Rajasthan to make people aware about these social issues. As per the recent report of S&P Global Ratings, what is the GDP growth rate of India? So right answer is 3.5%. The previous estimation was 5.2, but now it has been reduced to 3.5% because of this COVID-19. Please note that recently Moody also downgraded growth projections for India, and as per Moody, the estimated growth rate is going to be 2.5%. And this downgrade is because of COVID-19 and subsequently because of the lockdown. Now, if we talk about lockdown, recently Prime Minister announced 21 days lockdown in our country to prevent the transmission of coronavirus and to provide relief to the people during this lockdown period. Recently, Finance Minister announced relief package worth 1.7 lakh crores. Finance Minister is also the head of task force which was constituted to handle the economic impact of this COVID-19. Apart from recently, PMO, that is Prime Minister's Office, constituted a high-level panel to restore the normalcy after 21 days, and Mr. P.K. Mishra is going to be the head of this panel. In addition to that, recently Government of India launched the beta version of coronavirus tracking app, and the name of this app is Corona Kavach. According to the recent announcement from Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas, which country has assured uninterrupted supply of LPG to India? Right answer is Saudi Arabia. LPG stands for liquefied petroleum gas. Present Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas is Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, and recently Saudi Arabia has assured India of uninterrupted LPG supply during this coronavirus pandemic. Now Saudi Arabia is our second largest crude oil exporter, and recently USA replaced Kuwait and became the sixth largest exporter of India. That means sixth largest oil supplier for India. Now because of the sanctions on Iran, India has already reduced oil imports from Iran, and that is why Iran has been replaced by Nigeria as third largest oil supplier to India. Previously Iran was third largest, now Nigeria is third largest. Now coming back to Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia was also in news as recently G20 virtual summit was organized. Virtual summit means the event was organized through video conferencing. So Saudi Arabia was the head of this G20 virtual summit, and India is going to host G20 summit in 2022. In that year, India will also host Interpol conference. The headquarters of Interpol is in France, and France was the host of G7 summit in 2019. Which state government has launched a mobile application called Pergium to issue e-passes for people involved in the essential services amid lockdown? So right answer is Jharkhand. So it is an Android based application of issue e-passes for the people during lockdown. Now Jharkhand was also in news as Mahumilan railway station of Jharkhand became the 5500 in the context of measures taken to combat what is contact that was in news recently. So it is National Teleconsultation Center. Therefore, it is a telemedicine hub, and recently it was launched by Union Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Dr. Harshvardhan. This contact is a telemedicine hub which has been implemented by AIMS. AIMS stands for All India Institute of Medical Sciences. So, expert doctors from various domains will be available to resolve and answer the questions from all over the country. And this is the number. Now, if we talk about Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, present minister is Dr. Harshvardhan, and recently Health Ministry included Ayushman Bharat to fight against Corona. Apart from that, Health Ministry was also in news as it introduced School Health Ambassador Initiative. Under this initiative, 2 teachers are going to be appointed as Health and Wellness Ambassadors. Which Indian public sector bank unveiled a new logo ahead of its merger with Union Bank of India and Oriental Bank of Commerce? So right answer is PNB. So PNB has unveiled new logo ahead of its merger with UBI and OBC. Please note that RBI has issued notification that the merger of 10 banks into 4 is effective from 1st of April. And after the amalgamation process, PNB will become the second largest lender in India after State Bank of India. Apart from that, from 1st of April, India shifted from BS4 to BS6. It is Vehicular Emission Norm. BS stands for Bharat Stage. So from 1st of April 2020, India is following Bharat Stage 6 norms. So these were the important questions of today's quiz. Thank you, and that's all for the day.